Good afternoon. The first line of your talk is really important. I just wasted it on that. This is off to a bad start. I'm sorry. Here goes. So, hello, my name is Brad. Try it again. I wrote that with my own handwriting so you would know that I'm a real person and I love you. And this is a personal talk. This is a message to you because you're special people. And you've heard a lot of talks from people who know how to read and who have done things with their lives. And so I'm not going to pretend to be able to say anything this afternoon that you have not heard. I just want to encourage you as human beings who are impacting the world and in some really special ways. So this is a little pep talk. My name is Brad. And this is a story of how God uses little things to do really big things. This is a story of my life, but I hope it's also similar to things that you've seen in what you're doing. I worked in youth ministry for a long time. I love kids, and I love the idea of what God can do when He takes a young person and just what can happen in their lives. And my wife and I really loved seeing that happen. And so we started a camp that was for kids who wanted to change the world. And we loved seeing what it looked like when kids realized that they could actually serve God in really beautiful ways. And so we were always talking about how, what it looks like when God changes the world. So we decided to create a little web show about what it would look like if a kid were in charge. Now, there are nearly 3 billion people under the age of 20. That's right now, that number. It's a big deal. So the idea of actually connecting that group of people to become fully alive is exciting. And this is a picture of me at age 15. This is a video I made. This was me. I would film myself in my room writing and singing songs about cats, poetry, terrible, terrible poetry about girls who wouldn't call me back. And thank goodness YouTube didn't exist yet. Because all of these things would be out there. But I would just sit in my room and I didn't understand why did God make me such a pale, weird young person? And there's nothing He could do with me. You could see through my skin. You could see my organs. I had to wear special sunscreen lotion. It was terrible. It's just paint. My mom would just wear paint. So I felt like there's no way God could ever use me. And knowing that, I wanted to show kids that actually, again and again, that's who God uses, is the weirdos and the people who are sitting in their room saying, you can't use me. And God says, watch. This past year has been a crazy one for us because we posted a little video online of my brother-in-law pretending to be a president. And he's just said, I'm president. And so we made it. And it was in the middle of an election year in which people were yelling and posting Facebook statuses in all caps and just having lots of opinions. And so we thought, what if there was a kid who just came in and just said, everybody be nice, I'm out. And that's it. Just this simple message. I thought if I just want my mom to see this and that's it. And 200 people saw it and we're like, that's our whole town. And we were really proud of that. And then our second video, 2,000 people saw it and we're like, oh no. And then we're like, well, this is kind of fun. People are paying attention. Let's actually see if we can tell people things that matter, but in a fun way. And so we made a few videos, and this is the year that we had.
We're changing the world, y'all! I don't know at all, but I know a few things. It's time to be more boss. awesome. Hello, Rainn Williams.
Wilson.
I can't Beyonce. It was magical.
Hey, kid president.
I weigh 61 pounds. That's why I'm so heavy. The world would be more awesome if
Every interview was as good as this one with kid president. What's this called?
the pencil sharpener.
I like it.
Treat everybody like it's a birthday. This is nice, people. You got air coming through your nose. You got heartbeat. That means it's time to do something. Science. You hear? You take up space, you matter. Am I getting everybody? Am I getting everybody? Big Grandpa.
Fantastic.
Let's change the future. Create something that will make the world awesome.
So we've been blown away by what happened just by posting these simple little videos. And again and again, they just say things that a kindergarten teacher has already taught people, to be nice to people, to treat everybody like it's their birthday. It's everybody's duty to give the world a reason to dance. It's these little things that we just put out every week. And yet we saw that like people and every mainstream news outlet was posting these videos, was sharing them, and we're just like, what is happening? This is insane. And in every video, when we would meet somebody, Kid President asked this question: the world would be more awesome if. And it's a very simple little question, and it's very telling though when you ask somebody this, because we've asked everything from, he asked Beyonce this, to Josh Groban, to Nick Hornby, Steve Carell, to and people at the United Nations. And we asked this question, and the response is always very telling. And I think for you're inviting kids to answer this question, because you feel as though you know what the answer should be. But what are they saying, and how are they living, and what does that look like? There's a very simple truth that we're putting out, but yet there's something that is very powerful about a simple truth, about a word that's spoken simply. We did one episode in which Kid President was wanting to make people just stop complaining about things, to stop, just everybody get along. So we're like, let's just pick one thing and we're going to fix it. So how to pronounce the word diabetes. And so it's him saying it's not diabetes, it's diabetes. There's this whole back and forth. And it was just this little bitty thing, but like the United Diabetes Foundation got behind it. All these other people were like, thank you so much. And so we've had all sorts of people come to us and say, could you make a video about this? Like, I really need you to explain this, or could you do this? We even had a couple of weeks ago where the White House approached us to have Kid President explain affordable health care. Yeah. That is not a joke. Like, that was a real email, and I'm like, we already fixed diabetes, but that's it. Like, that's the extent. Like, we wrote so many reply emails, like, oh, what do we say? But we were nice. But the truth is disarming when someone says something that's truthful. When in interviews, it's interesting because normally people would be very nervous in an interview to talk, but especially to a 9-year-old, because you don't know what he's going to say. And I can't promise them that he's going to say anything nice, or like, I'm going to try to have him be nice, but who knows, he's 9. And so when we got to meet Beyonce, it was this really great thing. But she asked him, she's like, so, you're going to come to my concert? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, so, can you sing? He's like, yeah. She's like, will you sing with me? He's like, I guess. What are you going to sing? And she said, Beyonce songs. And he's like, oh, I don't know any of those. I only know Bruno Mars. And like, all of her people were like, what? And she's like, boy, you're all right. And it's like, oh, this is the best. Like, if I had said that, I would have got slapped or something. But you can do it. But the truth is also, as we found, it's very compelling. When these little videos popped up, I never imagined that they would stand out in any way. I just thought it was something funny that our friends would like. But the more that we've grown an audience, we felt a responsibility to actually put something out there that matters and it means something to people. We made one video that was for teachers. It was a pep talk to thank the teachers for because they've been the ones that have been sharing our videos a lot. And we made another one for moms. And the video for moms, we put some things in there that I just thought were little jokes. Like one was, put down your phone unless your kid is named Phone. and we got all these emails that were like, thank you so much. It was like, what? Like, because you had to have a kid tell you to put down your phone? Like, this is amazing. One mom actually said she and her son had not spoken. They had a fight, and that was really weird for them, and that they weren't talking, and that her son just emailed her the video, and then she came in the room, and they didn't even have to talk. They just hugged and cried. And I was like, real people are watching these. This is unreal. I guess the truth does that. And the truth is challenging. It's not always something that's just pretty and makes people feel good. It's also challenging. When we were in the White House, which is a weird sentence to say, I think that the president was prepared for this kid to like ask him questions and stuff, but instead, Robbie was so distracted by all that was going on in the White House, so he wanted to ask questions, and so he's like, what's this? What's that? And the president just guides him along in the Oval Office, and he started explaining to him the Emancipation Proclamation. And Robbie, in his way, as a 9-year-old does, he asked, what's that? And he said, well, this is free the slaves, and this was something that was signed. And he goes, why were there slaves? And I'm like, oh no, let's go. And the president just said in a simple but beautiful way, well, there was a time in our country when a few people thought it was okay to own other people. But I'm thankful that we now live in a world in which you're shocked by that. And then they went on to something else. And I was just like, that just happened. In such a simple way. He didn't like cover it up or didn't like make it pretty. He just said, yeah, that happened. The truth is challenging, but the truth is also inviting. We then later got invited to the United Nations, which is a weird sentence to say. The world called us. And so we went, and we're at the UN, and Valerie Amos is the Undersecretary General, and we're at her desk, and she had behind her a framed picture. And Robbie was like, who's that with you in your picture? Is that your dad? And she said, no, that's Nelson Mandela. And he's like, oh, well, who is that? And then she began to, again, simply explain, well, this is who Nelson Mandela was. And she told simply she explained apartheid, she explained how he was imprisoned, she explained him as a leader, she explained forgiveness, all in like 3 sentences. And I'm just blown away by this, and we leave, and she had just simply explained the story of Nelson Mandela, but she didn't like tear it apart. She didn't like just say, oh, he's a good guy, the end. Like, she actually got into the nitty-gritty, and Robbie was invited then to say, I want to know more about that guy. I want to know more about who he was. That's what the truth does. It invites people to know more. And one thing that we've learned is that the truth transforms. When I was in 4th grade, I was a pale, weird, I was the same guy. I did these little drawings and I told stories. And I remember my 4th grade teacher seeing the little doodles, and she said, you should put those in the school newspaper. I was like, what? No, that's where the high school kids are. Like, they read that thing. And she's like, no, it's good. So she actually took some of my drawings, and they were in the school newspaper. And then she actually took some of my stories, and she sent them to the Walt Disney Company. And they sent me a letter. And they were like, your teacher sent us some of your stories, and they're really wonderful. And we just wanted to tell you to keep doing that and keep going with that. And I was like, I got this letter in the mail from a header that said Walt Disney Company because my teacher thought that what I did had value. You as youth leaders, you're constantly telling kids that their voice matters, that the things they do matter, that the decisions they make matter. And I think it's important that we remember that every voice matters, even yours. For that teacher to speak into me and say, what you're doing is really incredible, that changed everything for me. I remember again and again the people in my life who looked at me and who spoke truth into my life. When I was graduating high school, there was an older man from my church who was out of breath and came running right as we were in the line to go get our diplomas. And he was like, oh, I just needed to see you. And I was like, what, Mr. Charles? Like, I just needed to tell you I'm proud of you. And I didn't know. We rarely talked. It meant so much to him that he had to tell me this. And again, he wrote me this kind little note that he sent me on my first day of school in college that said, just wanted to remind you again that I'm proud of you. When we say these things to people, they have great value. The most powerful thing that you can do when you get home is to speak the truth simply in love to a young person. To look at them and to say in your voice with who you are, I see God when you do this. I love the way you do this. I see God in you in this way. To speak love and truth, and not to complicate it with any pretense or complicate in any way, just to simply say, you are patient. I love the way that you encourage people. Cut through the noise of everything that's going on in the world with simple acts of love. It reminds people why we're on this planet. It reminds you why you're doing your job. It reminds the young person of the God who loves them and the reason they're here. The grown-ups who have helped create, who've reminded me of God's love, helped lead me to be doing what I'm doing now. For each of you, there is a young person right now who needs you to speak truth, to simply tell them who they are, who loves them, and what God could do with them next. The next important line in your talk is the last one, and you should work really hard on what that line should be. Thank you.